This is episode 39 of the Real World Paleo Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Lehman, a nutritional therapy practitioner and the reverse diabetes coach, which is also the name of my website. I help clients lose weight, and I see clients by Skype as well as in person. Please remember while you're listening to the show, our advice and information is intended to be helpful and informative, but is not a substitute for medical advice or treatment. I am really delighted to welcome Terra Johnson to the podcast today to talk about organic essential oils. As Veriditas Botanicals National Educator, Terra Johnson's mission is to infuse clarity, ease, and fun into therapeutic aromatherapy. Terra's passion is to educate practitioners and consumers on the value of organic farming and artisanal distillation of essential oils, and how to safely integrate organic essential oils into daily life. With over 20 years of education experience, Terra imparts the benefits of organic essential oils through powerful and simple practices that bring traditional wisdom into the modern day. So I want to give our listeners just a little backstory on Veriditas Botanicals, which was founded by Melissa Ferris in 1995. And a year later, she founded Simpler's Botanical Company, LLC, located in Forestville, California. Melissa's two companies were the first to introduce Ecocert, organic essential oils, to Whole Foods and the U.S. marketplace, as well as the first to provide education on how to use them medicinally. After selling Simpler's Botanical Company in 2002, Melissa returned to her hometown of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where she has established Veriditas Botanicals as one of the Midwest's leading providers of pharmaceutical-grade organic essential oils. So we're going to get into more of the story, and welcome, Terra.
Thank you.
So maybe you can quickly explain who Melissa Ferris is, just in terms of her role in the company.
Definitely. So Melissa Ferris is the founder, formulator, and even has been a practitioner in the aromatherapy world. And she was one of the very first persons to actually bring medical aromatherapy to America. We are the only company that is partnering with a co-op in Provence, where we have 80 different partners all over the world, but it's based in Provence, and it's called Plantes Aromatiques du Diois. And Melissa is the only American that's partnering with this co-op, so we'll talk a lot about that today, I'm sure. But she founded Veriditas Botanicals to really bring that separate model of French medical aromatherapy to America. We've pretty much bastardized aromatherapy in America with everything from toxic cleaners and toxic candles, and we call all of that aromatherapy, and that is not what aromatherapy is in France and many places around the world. So she is just a foremost authority in bringing that to America and partnering with her co-op. So it's a totally different model than what we've seen through brokers and other companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really fascinating. We'll talk a little bit more during the show about the lavender fields and lavender essential oils, and which come from France. So tell us a little bit about what led to your interest in essential oils.
Oh, definitely. So interestingly enough, I became friends with Melissa Ferris, and she needed some help pouring essential oils in the little 5 ml bottles. And so she invited me to come to her lab and watch her blend the oils. And I literally poured them into the little small 5 ml bottles, those little teeny bottles that we sell essential oils in. And I sat at her feet and just listened to everything that I could. I watched her have beautiful sessions with, customers, we'll call them customers. And I heard her talk with retail partners in the beginning and just every part of the business. So I watched her deal with customs and deal with our co-op in Provence all the way to the retail partners. And I just sat at her feet, listened to everything that I could. And every day that I came into work to help her, it just grew my passion for the uses of essential oils, which she promoted and helped me with in my own personal life. And lucky me, I was one of the very first employees, so I got to be in on the ground floor, so to speak, of all that she's built and all that she's done. So I stuck with her and sat by her side and listened to everything and got an education that I don't think anyone could imagine. So that's how it started for me.
That's really great. Why did Melissa choose the name of Veriditas Botanicals?
So Veriditas, Melissa Ferris was a follower of Hildegard von Bingen, and Hildegard was a 12th century abbess and healer. She actually became a Catholic saint. She went up against the establishment. She was a feminist in her day. And Melissa followed her writings, her music, her artwork when she was a very young woman. Melissa was also an herbalist as a teenager, so her interest started very early. But she followed Hildegard's works. They're still in print today. And Hildegard coined the word Veriditas. And it's that moment when God heals you with the plant. So that divine healing power from plant to human. And Hildegard's beautiful writings are just a depth of understanding the spirituality between plants and humans. And that's how Melissa chose the word, because she followed Hildegard and loved this word.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So I also know that Melissa partnered with Pranarum. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yep.
Pranarum recently. I was wondering if you could just briefly explain, who they are and why she chose them.
Yeah, it's really an exciting partnership. Melissa Ferris and Pranarum have had an invaluable relationship all along. While we have been in America forging ahead in the scientific aromatherapy arena, Pranarum has done it beautifully, expertly, and is a leader in French medical aromatherapy in Europe. So they sell to over 10,000 pharmacies. So both companies have a dedication to organic farming and are also founded in education. And the French medical aromatherapy version of aromatherapy is what we both follow. So it's been an incredible journey together. And what's wonderful too is that we've kept a separate lane. They do what they do in Europe, and we do what we do in America. We still partner with our co-op as they plant Aromatherapy du Diwan, and they have their own farms and distilleries. So we're doing this together, but in separate places. So we have the support of this beautiful company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like they were. Is it correct to say they were able to? They have to expand your reach?
Yes, for sure. And all the clinical studies and research that they're able to share, because they're sold in pharmacies across the world, we wanted to be able to partner with a company that already has experience in that and is able to do that. So we're hoping that will help us to move forward in that way in America eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be great.
Definitely.
So we know that these oils from plants can make our bodies healthier, but I was wondering if you could just explain for the layperson what are essential oils and maybe a little bit about the process.
Oh, sure. So essential oils, when we feel blossoms in our fingers, like let's say you have a handful of blossoms and you're crushing them in your hands, you might feel that oily residue that's left over. Do you remember that with plants sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we're extracting from the plant through a steam distillation process. It can take thousands of pounds of blossoms or stems or leaves or roots or seeds, or it can be in all of these parts. So the essential oils are the tiny aromatic molecules and compounds within the plant, in any part of the plant or all parts of the plant. And this is the part of the plant that attracts pollinators, that wards off pests and bacteria. We call it the immune system of the plant. So we take all of the plant material, we put it in a large still, and we steam distill the essential oil. So when the steam runs through the plant matter, it separates the essential oil from the water and from the plant matter. And that's how we extract it. The water that's left over is a hydrosol. So this is a whole other byproduct or co-product to the essential oil.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Good.
So aromatherapy, I read, has been around for at least 3,000 years. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the history of essential oils as aromatherapy.
Definitely.
And why you can buy essential oils in pharmacies in Europe but not the U.S.?
Yeah, for sure. Again, that bastardization that we've done in America, 98% of the essential oils in the world are actually sold through brokers and or made for the food and fragrance industry. They're not usually organically certified. There is no regulation on what's in that bottle. With Ecocert, which is our organic certification, it means that there's 100% plant matter in the bottle. And I'm sure we're going to get onto that. And back to the history, the aromatic medicines have been around forever. And in Europe, they were specifically started as a medical practice in the 60s by Dr. Verret. And he was healing people's wounds with essential oils during and after World War II. And Dr. Vernet was a French army surgeon, and he wrote many books. He's kind of the author of French medical aromatherapy, and he introduced the French medical aromatherapy profession into France. So it's now accepted as a French medical practice. You have to have a medical degree to be able to give essential oils to your patients and send them to the pharmacies. So,
wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, isn't it? It's, this is why you can buy them in France, in pharmacies, and all over Europe, is because of this medical research and because of bringing this into the medical profession. We think of a certification for aromatherapy, and it's 2 months, 2 years, and while that's beautiful and that's wonderful, and we love to have people be certified and be interested and be excited about essential oils, it doesn't tell the whole story. There's several methods of essential oil use. In the English version, this is all about blending the essential oils into carrier oils, never taking them internally, and the medicinal use is not as used in its pure form. Whereas in the French medical aromatherapy version, there are times that it's internal use for digestion or helping to heal disease. You can also use them neat on the skin or undiluted. So this is a totally different model. There's some crossover between them, but it's mostly in the French medical version that this is different. There's lots of misconceptions in the aromatherapy world because of this. There's, that 98% that is grown conventionally or made synthetically, of course those wouldn't be used in the French medical version of essential oils. It's, it's a completely different model. They're not looking for the organic certification. They're not looking for that pure plant matter. They're just looking at essential oils that might be sold through brokers or, like I said, grown conventionally or made synthetically in a lab. There can be lots of additives and different things. So it's a completely different way of looking at essential oils.
Yes, that makes sense. And I think, one of the things that I really like about Veriditas Botanicals is the organic. I mean, that's really important. And I don't think people are aware that there are different types of, that not all essential oils are created equally.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit. One of the things that I think distinguishes Veriditas is that you support organic farming and sustainable practices.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could explain just briefly what the environmental impact is of harvesting essential oils, and then why this organic certification that we just talked about from the French agency is so important.
Yeah, it is. Ecocert was started in France, and it's the highest, most respected international organic certification agency in the world. And it means that 100% of the plant matter that is grown, harvested, and distilled is organically certified. There can be zero tolerance of pesticides or herbicides or any kind of additives or adulterants in the bottle. It also tells you that on site there is a scientist that tests every single constituent of every single plant when they harvest at critical bloom. So the soil, the region, the altitude, the climate, the weather, all of these things play a role in when that critical bloom is. We're looking for those aromatic compounds, those aromatic constituents that we can use medicinally, that have specific aromas and specific medicinal uses. And Ecocert, they're growing the plants for their medicinal use. All of those aromatic compounds that we're used to smelling when we smell an essential oil bottle, they all have a medicinal constituent that's attached to them. So our expert smellers, so to speak, the expert knows that we have on site at our distillery is testing for all of those constituents. Now here's the interesting thing. Many essential oils that in America or around the world that could be also tested for those constituents could be present, but it doesn't mean it came from a plant unless you have an organic certification. And this brings us back to Ecocert. Ecocert tells you exactly the varietal and all of those aromatic compounds that are present within the plant. And there's complete traceability on every single bottle that we put out. There's a lot number on the bottom. This is traceable all the way back to the seed. If you don't have that traceability and transparency, it could be 100% synthetically made. It could be part plant matter, part synthetic, part additive. There could be just about anything in the bottle. So Ecocert is giving you that comfort and that knowledge that 100% of what's in that bottle is organic. And, and you know, this is the interesting impact. So when you grow, as you know, it takes a lot of plant matter. So let's talk about lavender. It's 2,000 pounds of lavender blossoms to make 4 liters of lavender essential oil. So think about that land mass. Now, if that was sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, imagine the amount of land mass that can be destroyed very quickly with 1, 2, 3, 4 varietals of any given plant. So when they organically grow, they're doing this for the philosophy of healing the earth, healing our bodies, healing our communities. This is not just about producing the essential oil to sell retail. This is all about a way of life and using the plants for their medicinal purposes. So when we grow them organically, we literally are bottling the immune system of the plant. When you grow them organically and left in its organic state, the essential oil within any blossom, stem, root, seeds, it could be in all of these parts or some of these parts like I mentioned earlier, but when the plant is left to grow organically, it has this immune system that's attracting pollinators like butterflies and bees, but it's also warding off pests, bacteria, viruses. That's what the plant does naturally. That's what the essential oil does naturally. So if you spray it with pesticides and herbicides, what have you done to the plant? You've now altered the plant. Just like our food, we know through Rutgers University study that when you grow a carrot organically or conventionally, that the carrot that's grown organically has up to 1,000 or 2,000% more nutritional value than the conventionally grown carrot. It's the same with essential oils. There may be no medicinal constituents left within the plant to distill and be able to extract the essential oil and use it medicinally. So now you've just got a weaker plant, a weaker aroma when you grow them conventionally. There's so many problems with conventional growing, not to mention all of us trying to avoid the herbicides and pesticides, but now you've made a weaker plant and it's not useful for our bodies anymore anyway. So this is what you find in 98% of the essential oils grown, or they can be synthetic as well. So.
Yeah, I love what you just said about the immune system. I don't think I even think about plants and their immune system. I just try to avoid pesticides and buy organic, but that's really fascinating that the organic aspect really preserves their immune system as well. And that if you don't have that, you can run the risk of destroying it, it sounds like.
Yes.
So as far as the sustainability piece too, another, I guess, analogy is I read that it takes a mind-boggling volume of 5.5 million freshly picked roses to produce 1 liter of organic rose essential oil. So when you have that huge amount of blossoms and roses, it seems to take up a lot of land mass to grow that many. So how does the sustainability or organic farming play into that?
Yeah, this is also one of the biggest points for wildcrafting and organic certification and biodynamics. This is an important part of the role of organics around the world, is so that we don't destroy the earth. And this is, like you mentioned, 5.5 million roses. That's a lot of land mass. And this supports more land mass than most of our produce. So when we think about American grocery stores, and how we purchase our produce, one display of essential oils could either destroy or totally support sustainable farming. And this is that place that I feel like people have ignored. You know, we look at our food, we look at our herbs, we look at our supplements. We're looking at how these are being sourced, but essential oils have been ignored and missed, and many of these essential oils that are grown conventionally are literally destroying the earth. I mean, this is as big a story as our food problems with GMOs and organic or non-organic conventional growing. And there's so much land mass involved that it's a wonderful way to support the healing of our earth and all that these farmers are up to. Like I said, it's a way of life. It's not something that they do just for the money. It's, you know, they're usually part of a co-op and are organized with other farmers because it's a small land mass that they are able to grow their lavender or their rose otto, the Damascus rose. So all of these farmers are doing this for the philosophy of healing the earth, and this is an important part of the essential oil story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people want to support sustainable environmental practices.
Definitely.
So why should a consumer choose a therapeutic grade essential oil, which is what the company produces, when there are cheaper ones on the shelf that could be adulterated?
Yeah, so therapeutic grade is an industry term, and it's an important term. We're talking about the intentional therapeutic use of what the essential oils can do for our bodies and our lives. So this word has been hijacked, though, by many companies that are actually using synthetic oils, or like I said, they could be part plant matter grown conventionally and part synthetics. It could be all synthetic. There's really no regulation in America. So this therapeutic grade, when it says that on the label, that's not the only story. We are therapeutic grade essential oils, but Ecocert, the organic certification, and our intention of the French medical version of using the essential oils is what makes us different. Therapeutic grade, like I said, is an industry term. It means that our intent is to use it therapeutically. When you look at different companies and they also say therapeutic grade, sometimes they're just hijacking this term to make you think that it is a more pure state of this essential oil, when really it could be anything but that. There might be not one molecule in the bottle of what's on the label. And that's why organic certification and going through the certifications is so important, to be transparent and be traceable, that it's actually plant matter. I mentioned earlier, 98% of the essential oils in the world are sold through brokers and mostly for the food and fragrance industry. Now, Coca-Cola has essential oils in it. Altoids have 2 drops of peppermint in every Altoid. Do we think those are grown organically? And I guess I can't speak to that exactly, but I've never seen an organic label on either can or tin. So the food industry, when it says, when you see a label in food manufacturing, so packaged, bottled, canned foods, you might see natural flavors on the label. This could be essential oils being used. Now, this seems like a fun part of the story, when really those are the conventional or synthetically made or essential oils with tons of additives that go into those foods. There can be organic foods with organic essential oils used as its flavoring agent, and that would be listed on a label. But many times in conventional stores and in organic stores, the label is natural flavors, and it could be essential oils from any source. So this is very different than what we offer. We're offering a pure organic essential oil that is therapeutic grade, but is also unadulterated. And this is what Ecocert is guaranteeing to you, to the public, is that it is an unadulterated version of the plant matter with zero pesticide residue, and that it's 100% tested. So there is no other American company that I know of that is sold retail the way we are that is 100% organically certified. Now, we partner with USDA, but Ecocert is 100% of the plant matter is tested, every single batch. And so when we come to America with our essential oils, we're able to be also certified by USDA. And we're glad to partner with them. And both of these hoops that we jump through, so to speak, are to give transparency and traceability to our customers.
So does that mean you have the USDA logo on your products,
Yes.
or how
Yep.
okay?
Yeah, we do, and so Ecocert and USDA are both on the bottle.
That's great, because I think people, you're right, are probably a little more familiar with the USDA
Definitely.
certification.
And I think they'll start to see Ecocert in America more often. Ecocert is almost in 100 countries right now. It was 80 plus at last at last count. When I talked with Ecocert, it was over 80 countries, and they will be coming to America. And they're in almost 100 countries, and they lead in the organic certification. You'll start to see other products that come to America. I've seen a lot in South America and especially in Europe, but Ecocert will make its way here because it's such a stringent certification that we as Americans are starting to demand that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really important. So besides the single essential oils, I know Veriditas also makes hydrosols, wellness formulas, perfume, and even deodorants. So I was wondering if we could just focus maybe in on the hydrosols first and then talk about the wellness formulas. By the way, I love the Melissa hydrosol.
Oh,
I like the lavender one too.
Good. I love it.
And I use the sinus relief, which is one of the wellness formulas, since I have allergies. And
isn't that a wonderful blend?
Yes, it really is. It works. It's one of the few. It's the first essential oil I've tried for that, and I was so pleased with the results. That it does help. So I use that daily.
Oh, good. And that that's one of the things that makes us so different too. Is Melissa expertly blends in French medical practice all of her essential oil blends, and then the hydrosol, like we talked about earlier. The hydrosol is all the water left over in the steam distillation process of the essential oil. So lavender essential oil is extracted, and all the water left over is a lavender hydrosol. So you can't make it unless you actually have a still and you're producing essential oils and steam distilling essential oils. That is how you would get the hydrosol from the process, is through the steam distillation. So all the water that's left over is all the water-soluble items from the plant blossoms that are distilled would be the hydrosol. So it has separate medicinal constituents, but it's very gentle. So sometimes when people feel a little trepidation with using essential oils right away, we start them on hydrosols because it's all the water-soluble items. So essential oils are fat-soluble, and hydrosols are water-soluble. So they blend well with water. They go into water. And so the hydrosols can be calming to the skin, so great for any kind of skin issues. We sell them in America more for toners and hydrators of the skin, but really their medicinal uses go far beyond how we market them. It's just that next space of aromatherapy that hasn't been recognized by most Americans. But in France, in Germany, in Austria, in Belgium, hydrosols are used medicinally. So internally, topically. The ones that you can use internally are on our bottles. It'll state that you can use it internally. And you can make a little calming cocktail with a little lavender hydrosol and sparkling water. It'll calm the belly and the digestive system, but also be calming to the nervous system. So it's great at bedtime. You can use the hydrosols to tone and reacidify the skin after cleansing. You can use it to hydrate after a sunburn or psoriasis or a rash or eczema. You can use it to drive in the essential oils. So they're a great co-product to many of our essential oils that we use for skincare, so to speak. So if you're using the acne treatment or skin clarity blend, you could spray the rose geranium hydrosol first on the skin and then apply the essential oil. Because the essential oils are hydrophobic and they go away from water, the hydrosols are a great addition to drive in those essential oils and bolster them naturally. So the hydrosols are a fun co-product, and every single hydrosol that we have 10 in our line, have different medicinal uses. And sometimes what's soluble in the essential oil is separate from the hydrosol, and sometimes they're very similar. Like Rose Otto hydrosol has about 2% Rose Otto essential oil pretty much infused into those waters. 2% of that essential oil ends up in those waters. So because of its regenerating properties, it can be great for anti-aging and things in skincare. So that's why we use them all very differently, but mostly they're on the shelf for hydrating and toning.
Yeah, I kind of spritz literally with the hydrosol often first thing in the morning and when I go to bed.
That's beautiful. That's great.
And does the Melissa or the Lavender one have that anti-aging?
Well, you are gorgeous and you don't need that, but yes.
Oh, yes, I do.
All of them will be hydrating. The Melissa is said to relax the muscles of the face, and the Melissa is one of the gentlest. So when someone in your life has very sensitive skin or needs a gentle hydration or treatment, the Melissa hydrosol is the first place to go. So even sunburns and rashes and eczema, psoriasis, anything like that, or even a burn, it can be a helpful tool to healing the skin. But yes, they're all great for anti-aging because of their hydrating and toning properties and because they reacidify the skin. But Melissa is one of the best. So you picked one of the best. And it's also calming for the nervous system. A lot of people spray the Melissa hydrosol as an anti-anxiety spray. And Melissa essential oil is also used as an anti-anxiety, but the hydrosol is just a gentler way to do that. And I have a lot of, actually staff members of a lot of our retail partners tell me that they just go right over to the display and spray themselves when they're having an anxious moment, and it calms them immediately. So you should try that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the other thing I really like, because I have TMJ, temporomandibular jaw syndrome, and so I like the pain relief. That has been really effective. It's a little roll-on, but and I just put it around my jaw areas. I've learned to be careful about my eyes, not to put it too close to my eyes because it can kind of drip, if you will, eventually. But that has been great for sort of facial tension and soreness. So I was curious what's in it. Can you explain what's in it?
Definitely. So Melissa, like I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, the wellness formulas are expertly blended by Melissa. And because she is a French medical aromatherapy practitioner, and because she owns the company and has all the expert understanding of how each plant works synergistically together, the plants work better together than they do separately. So when you make a blend like the Just Plain Relief or Pain Relief, we've changed some of the names so that we have some people might know them from both places, Just Plain Relief or Pain Relief. This one has helichrysum, peppermint, clove, and lavender. Helichrysum is said to be 100 times more anti-inflammatory than arnica, and many of us are familiar with using arnica, the herb, for an anti-inflammatory. And so what the Just Plain Relief does is the peppermint acts as a driver to the helichrysum, so it drives it in. So when you rub it on your jaw, the peppermint is an anti-inflammatory, but it's driving in that helichrysum. And helichrysum is said to penetrate as deep as the bone. So it's useful for the bone, the joint, the muscle, the tendon, the skin, and the nerve. They use it often in France for nerve damage, nerve pain, muscle, joint, tendon, all of those things. And that's why we blend it the way we do in the Just Plain Relief. And so I'm glad you're getting results on your jaw. This is one of the best ways to use it. It's right on the area that you're feeling pain or inflammation or any kind of spasms. Mm-hmm. All of the wellness formulas are blended expertly and named for their treatment, so to speak. And of course, we can't treat people, but we can guide them a little more quickly to the essential oils that are grown medicinally specifically for those purposes. When those plants grow organically, they have antispasmodic properties, they have antibacterial properties, they have antiviral properties. So Melissa has blended them in a way that brings those anti-inflammatory plants together, or the antispasmodic plants together, or the antifungal plants together. So it's an expert blending that she does, and it's incredible and just remarkable how much just a drop can do for you. You're probably getting one drop on the jaw, and when you look at that little bottle, most people are like, well, how long is that going to last me? A day? And it lasts for weeks and sometimes months because you need less than a drop to cover the whole jaw area. What results have you seen from the Just Plain Relief?
Yeah, well, I also like what you said about the peppermint driving it in because it is almost like a heat and ice kind of sensation.
Yes.
And it works very quickly. So I just have noticed that it just kind of relieves that soreness and tension where I have it constant, below sort of in my jawline and below my mouth. And I get chronic headaches. They're low-grade headaches. So I've put it even on the temples of my head just to kind of ease that. So, I think if you know where your trigger points are, you can just apply it there. Again, just be a little careful about getting it too close to your eyebrows or, around too close to your eyes. But I find that it works very quickly. And I do get relief
and
from the pain.
One side note, if you do get it into the eyes, or if you get it anywhere that you don't want it, any essential oils, the antidote to essential oils is a fatty oil. So something like grapeseed oil, coconut oil, olive oil, any of those could be used to remove essential oils. So let's say you actually did rub it on the temples and it seeped into the eyes. You would just get a cloth, either a paper towel or a napkin or even a washcloth, a towel, and put a little bit of the fatty olive oil on the tissue or napkin or towel and rub your eye. The essential oils will bond with the fatty oils and come out of the eye, and it works immediately. And then you can always take the dry side of the tissue or whatever and wipe out the fatty oil. But this will remove it.
Oh, I love it. I was just using old-fashioned water, so now I know.
and remember, they're hydrophobic, so they go away from water. So if you wash it with water, it'll drive it in. And and it's not going to harm you if you have little seed size, but it doesn't feel good, does it?
No.
Definitely.
So I know your lavender essential oils come from these beautiful lavender fields in Provence, and I love the picture of Melissa, among the lavender fields. But I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit of the story. How did Melissa find this cooperative in Provence? And then, how did Eric and Sylvie Bonnet get going? And they're the ones, I understand, who harvest and distill the lavender. So maybe you could just give us a little bit of the backstory there.
Definitely. So, Melissa Ferris, in her partnership with SA Plants Aromatique du Diois, which is our co-op in Provence, has led her to many relationships with many farmers. And so Sylvie and Eric are one of them. And they are Ecocert certified, but also Demeter certified, which is biodynamic. And so Eric and Sylvie, they had such a passion for lavender and bringing the medicinal benefits of lavender to the marketplace that they actually quit their jobs. I think Eric was a baker and Sylvie was an accountant or something like that. And they left their jobs to start this beautiful lavender distillation, growing and distillation. And it really has its own ecosystem on the farm. When you are biodynamically certified, a lot more goes into it. So it's kind of the and then some of organics. If you can get better than organic, that's what this is. They have their own ecosystem on the farm, which feeds the soil. They plant by the schedule of the moon. Many times there's all different types of either homeopathics or treatments for the soil. They do crop rotation. And this is a way of life that they've committed to. It really is that and then some. And because it's wildcrafted, all the plants are left to grow wild and free in their natural habitat. Our Corsican distillers are very popular for doing this as well. But basically, they let the plants grow in their natural habitat with minimal intervention. And this is how wildcrafting is. And they keep track of all the plants, where they've been planted, how many there are, how they're growing, how they're maturing, and their overall health. But they really let them grow without much intervention, like I said. So this is what Sylvie and Eric are up to. And their distillation is one of the most memorable lavenders I've ever experienced. And it makes it a sweeter varietal. They have organic heirloom seeds that are planted throughout many generations, so they have to work harder to grow. It's a gentler, sweeter, more feminine scent, but it has all the same uses of our what we call our everyday Provence lavender, which is grown in Provence. And so Sylvie and Eric, theirs are on a high mountaintop in France. Melissa says even the French people don't travel to where Eric and Sylvie are. So it's an interesting story. So she has built these relationships through our distilleries, through our other farmers, through our co-op, and she meets people from all over the world because we do have about 80 partners with Sapad, with our co-op, and we're in about 27 countries right now. So she's building these relationships all over the world, and of course the Wildcrafting and Demeter Biodynamic Certified are coveted as the Vienmentum of organic. So it's a special relationship. Only a small amount is distilled each year, so we only get a small amount because it's a small amount that they harvest. And so it's a very special, tremendous product.
I think one of the things that really appeals to me, too, about Melissa's methods is she's very hands-on. Doesn't she travel a lot and spend time? I know she spends time in Provence and at the co-op and meeting with her partners. And She does. She has a relationship with all of them. And Michel Manouvrier, who founded the co-op, Essay Plants Aromatiques du Diwan, his relationship with Melissa is just paramount because he's not partnering with any other American. It's just Melissa at this point. And they've had about an 18 to 19-year relationship where he has introduced her to many of the partners, and she's been able to build those relationships on her own and through Michel Manouvrier. Michel Manouvrier, who started our co-op, also was the very first person to ever organically distill an essential oil. And his role, his role in organic agriculture around the world is highly respected. And he starts sustainable farming and organic farming in many different regions and countries. And sometimes we won't see a harvest for 5, 10, 15 years. So it's really a partnership of healing the earth, like we talked about earlier, and healing our communities and creating that sustainable farming for each region, each country. So it is a very special relationship. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I know that you provide on your website, and we'll give that out at the end of the show, lots of education for each essential oil. So I was wondering, I know education is very important to Melissa, and of course, you're in that role of being a national educator. So I was wondering if you could just maybe take an example of how you would educate about the therapeutic uses. We can talk about lavender or another essential oil, where you talk about indications and contraindications and so on.
Yeah, definitely. So there are so many indications for essential oils. And remember, when the plant grows organically, we borrow its immune system. And within that immune system of any given plant could be antispasmodic properties, anti-inflammatory properties, antiviral, antibacterial. The list goes on, analgesic, antiseptic. So lavender, as an example, it's a gentle varietal of a medicinal plant, but it does have within the immune system antibacterial properties, antifungal, antiviral, anti-inflammatory. So you can use lavender as a gentle antiseptic. Things like burns, cuts, scrapes, any kind of headache, a toothache, even for TMJ, you could rub it right on the jaw. For a baby, you could use it on for diaper rash or cradle cap. You could use it on eczema or psoriasis, or it could be helpful in reducing swelling. It could be helpful in reducing the healing time, so it would speed up healing time and act as an analgesic and painkiller. Very vulnerary, so promotes healing however you apply it, and you can apply it by putting it right on the skin. When you apply essential oils like lavender, that is safe to put neat on the skin for children or adults, and not all essential oils are, but lavender is. Lavender is the panacea of French medical aromatherapy. So when in doubt, use lavender. That's what Melissa always says. When in doubt, use lavender. So it's the first aid we all should have for bug bites and cuts and scrapes and burns and rashes and anything you can think of. You could start with lavender. Now sometimes it might not have enough antifungal properties, so we might move into a stronger varietal to kill something like foot fungus or help to treat something like that. But generally speaking, lavender does the trick for so many things, so why not just try it? It's gentle for everyone. The contraindications would be if someone was sensitive and their skin did have a reaction to it, the first thing I would do is choose a different oil. So if your skin is reacting to an oil that we tell you is safe for neat application, undiluted, but yet you're having a small reaction, any human being could be allergic to anything. Generally speaking, there aren't any pollens in essential oils. So, for instance, when the niaouli tree and plant is growing, it causes vast allergies in the region that it grows in, but the essential oil of the niaouli plant actually heals those same histamine responses and allergies. So the essential oil of most plants have no pollens, none of them have pollen, but will be healing to the histamine response and the inflammatory response and things like that. So it's, generally speaking, an allergy is not what someone's experiencing, but again, any person could have an allergy to anything. And if that happened, then what I would do is dilute the essential oil in a fatty carrier oil or lotion and try it again, or pick a different oil, because there's so many. Every single plant that is grown organically and distilled organically will have some antibacterial properties. So as you'll probably share at the end of the show, we have several pieces of literature that guide you in which oils you can put neat on the skin, undiluted, like we talked about the lavender, or if it needs a carrier oil. Now again, lavender in the French medical practice is used as a carrier. So that's a whole other way to dilute those other stronger oils. Another way for you to try it to see if you have any kind of reaction is just on the inside of the arm. You can place a little bit of the lavender or other neat oils to see if you have a reaction after 24 hours. But again, it's usually not an allergic reaction, generally speaking. It usually is just too strong for your skin. And that's when you need some kind of dilution or blend it with other oils, or just try a totally different one. I always just move on to another one and try something else. Mm-hmm. And again, the contraindications would be skin rashes, things like that. For lavender, generally, I don't see a lot of contraindication to lavender. There aren't any known situations with medicines or supplements. Lavender is very gentle and benign and can be used on the skin and internally and topically and in diffusers. So there's so many ways to use lavender that generally will just help build the immune system within the body and help to sustain that and to continue to build it and continue to go after those invaders in the body, even in a gentle way.
Mm-hmm. So you have this wonderful aromatherapy chemistry reference chart. It's on your educational blog, and I'll provide the link to that, which spells out what you were describing. It has, I believe, codes or is it references so that you could use the term neat, which means it's applicable to the skin. That it's okay to use on your skin. Yeah. And so, excuse me, that chart is a really good educational tool. I also noticed that it had cooking recommendations. So I was wondering if you could talk about how to infuse and maybe give us a few examples of oils that you might infuse into drinks or foods.
Oh, most definitely. This is one of my favorite ways to use essential oils. And because ours are Ecocert certified organic, and I know that it's 100% pure plant matter, and the ones that are safe to use internally, on our chemistry reference card, you will see an F next to the oils for food and flavoring. So the intent is that you're just going to use a little bit of the essential oil to flavor food. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. For instance, if you were to take oregano and put it in your marinara sauce at home or your red sauce or your tomato sauce, I literally start with a toothpick, dunk it in the bottle of oregano, and run it through my sauce, a toothpick at a time. Sometimes one whole drop is too much. Some people might start with one drop, but if you get 2 or 3 drops out of the bottle, it might be too much flavor. That's how much flavor is in each drop. Remember, there's so much plant matter in each drop, so I always tell people respect each drop. One of the things I also want you to remember is always use glass, no plastic, when making marinades or drinks or using essential oils in cooking and in that final product. So if you're serving it on something. I always use glass, no plastic. I use the citruses, so lemon, grapefruit, orange, lime, bergamot. I use all of those in water on a daily basis. When you use 1 drop of lemon essential oil, it activates the phase 1, phase 2 liver enzymes. So it helps to cleanse the liver, the GI tract, helps to release carcinogens from the body through the liver, great for the skin, great for energy, weight loss, pH balancing. And so again, glass, no plastic. So always when you put a few drops in your water, make sure you use glass. Essential oils, when mixed with oxygen, the oxygen actually has a chemical reaction and eats through plastic. So you're going to think it's the essential oil, but it's literally oxygen having that chemical reaction. And so you don't want to create a hole in a plastic bottle or cup. But my favorites are basil, lemongrass, ginger essential oils in a vinaigrette. And again,
sounds delicious,
doesn't it? And again, toothpick at a time. Also, the citruses you could use in waters and lemonades and marinades. I make a vinaigrette with the citruses almost on a daily basis. I even spray the orange blossom hydrosol on my greens, and then I'll make an olive oil and sweet orange essential oil vinaigrette with a little honey. Also, the like peppermint in tea, peppermint, cardamom, ginger, all of those are popular to make your own tea just in some warm water. When essential oils are heated up, it actually breaks down the flavor and the medicinal value. So always put it in the cooler part of the recipe. But the good news is if you did get too many drops of oregano in that marinara, you can just heat it up and it'll break down that flavor and medicinal benefit, and you can kind of start over, so to speak, with your oregano. But those are some of my favorites. Oh, and rose geranium and lemonade in the summer. And start with very little, not even a drop. Sometimes I'll roll a drop of essential oil around the glass or the container, just roll it around and then make the drink in the container or the sauce or the marinade or the soup, so that you're just getting a little bit of that extra flavor. And of course, essential oils don't take the place of nutrition with real food and herbs and produce, but this is a great way for you to add a whole new flavor profile, intensify flavors, play with your essential oils that are edible. It's a fun way to add something to your cooking.
Yes, I'm all excited now
Good.
to start.
You can tell it's one of my favorite parts.
Yes. Well, we're foodies here on the show. So.
Good.
That rose geranium and lemonade sounds delicious. So.
And it's just so aromatic and beautiful and feminine.
So what? And you also have recipes on your site, right?
We do. We have a few on the back of that chemistry reference card, and then on our blog, our website, our Instagram, and our Facebook, we commonly will post different blends of essential oils you can use in food or different single oils. So be looking for those too.
Great. So I know when people are first starting out using essential oils, that's probably when they need some advice. So do you have any advice for people who are just new to this?
So with our company, Veriditas, I like to start people off by handing them our lavender card or having them go to our website and look at our lavender card and our wellness card. And what is different about us is that Melissa does expertly blend those wellness blends. And so going through the list of blends to find one that pertains to your family's most dire issues or common complaints is the first place I like to start people out. So if there is mouth care issues, if there is dental issues, I start with the Gumdrops. This is where essential oils perform beautifully, is in the mouth. So that's one to look at. Just like you love the sinus congestion oil, that one has helped so many families with sleeping and sinus infection issues, allergy issues like you mentioned. It can really help to mitigate all of those awful responses we get to allergies and sinus issues. And so much of our immune system can also be in the sinus cavity, so this can be a helpful tool. I always tell people to start off with 1, 2, or 3 that they feel excited about learning about, and not to get overwhelmed by the hundreds that are out there, because there's so much vast learning. Remember, it's literally a medical degree in France for you to be able to dispense essential oils. So I tell people, don't get overwhelmed. Just try one at a time. like Melissa always says, when in doubt, try lavender. So I always start with lavender as first aid, because if you carry that in your purse or your car or your pocket, you literally have the perfect first aid for a cut, a scrape, a welt, a bug bite, anything that might happen in the middle of your day. I'm kind of klutzy, so I need it all the time. And then, of course, if there's pain in your household, the Just Plain Relief would be a wonderful tool for you to mitigate that pain. And so I just look at which ones pertain to my lifestyle, my family's lifestyle, and what could be most helpful, and zone in on those. Once you get to try a couple of them that are helpful to you, you'll see results and you'll want to learn more. If you picked an oil that was abstract to your lifestyle, abstract to your understanding, and you had no idea what the oil did or was supposed to do, it would keep you from learning. So I do have customers that have a shelf full of essential oils that they're not using, and I'm always trying to help them learn more about each one that they were first excited about. But go home with a few that will be helpful for your lifestyle, and you'll find that you'll use them on a daily basis, get results on a daily basis, and want to learn more and see which ones could be helpful for other problems in your life, or just the ones that you love the aroma. That's another place to start. Just go to the essential oil display and smell all of the essential oils and pick the one that you're most excited about and learn about that one. That's another way to start.
I'm glad you brought up Gumdrops, because I use that too. And so I can echo what you're saying. I've ended up using primarily the Gumdrops, the sinus relief, the Just Plain Relief, and now I'm starting to expand into some of the other ones. I tried Rose for his little perfume, which is a roll-on, when I was on a trip, and that worked wonderfully. I was happy with that. So, yeah, that's a really good point. I wanted just to clarify, though, with the Gumdrops, I've been adding it to my toothbrush. So I put the tooth powder on because it's just all organic, and then I add one or two drops of the Gumdrops to it. Is that a good way to do it, or is there no right or wrong
There's
here?
no right or wrong, exactly. It can be put right on the toothbrush. It can be put in a toothpaste. You can make a toothpaste out of it with your tooth powder is great. You can put it on your fingertips and run your floss through it. You can rinse with it. Put it in your oil pulling to make it taste better. All of those things would be great. You can also rub it right on the gums. So it's helpful for recession, inflammation, bacteria, fungus. Again, that's where essential oils perform beautifully, is when there could be bacteria, inflammation, fungal issues. They'll go after those invaders in the body. But keep the good bacteria active. That's what makes essential oils so superb, is that they will continue to go after the invaders in the body, but keep the good bacteria and good flora active.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really, that sort of balancing act is really important. So can you share a few stories of clients who have experienced the medicinal benefits of your essential oils or any of these products we've been talking about?
Yeah, I love what you've shared, Christine, and that just hands-on use that you've already had. I love that. I do have a few of really incredible testimonials. Melissa Ferris, she volunteers with a lot of different organizations, and one of them, she was in a rehabilitation home with mostly elderly patients and residents, and a woman was completely hunched over and, had so many issues with her back and with pain. And Melissa is a very eccentric person. She just moves through life in a totally different way than anyone else I know. She is creative and giving and can get people to do whatever she wants them to do. And because she has the power of the plants behind her, right? So she walked up to this woman who was hunched over. She rolled the pain relief on her back and came back to visit her a little later that day, and the woman was standing up straight for the first time in many years. So it had,
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
wow.
that was one incredible one. Another one was a man who had tinnitus in the ear. He had purchased our Just Plain Relief or Pain Relief, and he was rolling it behind the ear. So not in the ear. You never want to put essential oils in the ear canal, but behind the ear. It still penetrates deeply into the ear. And we didn't know this. We didn't give him this advice. He did this all on his own and reported it back to us. A year after using our pain relief, he had some hearing back in his ear. So that nerve damage, that inflammation, had gotten some healing. And he reported to us that his hearing had improved. And so I thought that was pretty incredible. I know a lot of people with inner ear issues or hearing issues or tinnitus that would be happy to hear about that. So frankincense and helichrysum can be helpful for tinnitus. And so those are the ones I would choose, but the pain relief was the one he rolled right on the back of the ear. So great results. And then, of course, dozens of people send me emails, texts, and phone calls about the sinus congestion because it literally, you put a Q-tip in the bottle and you put it in the nose, in the sinus cavity. It helps to open up that sinus cavity. It helps in the healing of fungal and bacterial infections. And most people don't realize that once it's chronic, it's usually fungal. But they keep taking antibiotics or using something that's antibacterial when really you need something that's antifungal. The essential oils can get right into the sinus cavity and help to heal that. So that is why there's such quick and easy results. And I have people who tell me they slept for the first time in 20 years, or they had a terrible infection and were considering surgery, but it's been healing, so they're able to look at different options other than surgery. I've had people who just get relief from their sinus allergies because it helps to mitigate that histamine response in the body. So many testimonials. We get them daily. We used to post them all the time, and now we get them so often that we've compiled just this file of so many testimonials. So they do what they do well, you know, and so when you have a bacteria or fungus or pain situation or just trying to actually have something that acts as a prophylactic in those possible problems, the essential oils work beautifully in that situation.
Yeah, that is just so amazing. So we have learned so much today, and I want to thank you so much, Terra, for sharing all this wonderful information with us. So can you tell people where can they buy these products?
Yes. So the website that you'll list for the show at veriditasbotanicals.com or veriditasbypranarome.com, we do have a where to buy page, and it shows all of our retail partners. We're in about 300 stores right now, and we intentionally stayed with smaller partners, but you'll probably see us grow in the next few years. We're looking at all those options, but we're mostly with co-ops and independent health food stores, sometimes like Cancer Treatment Centers of America. We've partnered with them. You can purchase us there. And there's small practitioners around the country that have chosen to use our essential oils in their offices, so that could be an option as well. But mostly it'll be co-ops and small independents that you'll find us at. Also, Rosemary's Garden, which is one of our retail partners, they sell online. So if you're not in a region where you can actually buy it off the shelf, which is my first choice for all of you, then I would actually go to Rosemary's Garden or right to our website, and you can select Rosemary's Garden and buy online from them.
Mm-hmm. Why is it better to buy from a retail store?
So we partner with co-ops and independents, and our partnership is paramount to their existence. All of the small companies like us is what makes a co-op or a small independent do business. You know, they want to partner with local companies or companies that have the same philosophy and mission as they do. So when you purchase from a small independent or co-op, you're supporting that area. You're supporting the farmers, the employees. They're usually employee owned, many of them, sometimes not, but many of them are. And so this helps to add to that local economy, add to the staff of the stores, and they're partners of ours. So we're happy when you go to your region and buy from that region.
Mm-hmm. But the shelf life would be similar whether it's online or in the retail store. Oh,
yes. Great point, Christine. Actually, an essential oil that's defined as an essential oil, when that's all that's in the bottle, and some of our blends might have a little olive oil, just a couple of them. But most of our blends, so 90% of our blends and 99% of our essential oils, will have a shelf life beyond our lifetime. So as long as they're kept cool and dry and out of heat and sunlight, you could be passing them down to the next generation. Citruses do have a 3 to 7 year shelf life, and if it's a cold pressed seed or nut, that will have a 1 to 2 year shelf life. That's not considered an essential oil, but it is. We do have those in our line. Hydrosols will have anywhere from 6 months to 16 years. You just we train you on the bottle how to notice when there's spoilage, and that's listed on the bottle.
So essential oils can last a long time, really long time.
So, and they actually, every single harvest has its own fingerprint, we call it. It's just like its own fingerprint. So when you buy an essential oil that's aged, the aging of the oil actually makes it smell even more beautiful. So when you open up that bottle that you've had for 10 years, the aroma should be even more pleasing. So don't be afraid to buy those essential oils that might have been sitting on the shelf in a store. They're actually better. And so most of our partners move them pretty quickly. But once in a while, if there's a rare oil that hasn't been sold very quickly, you want that aged oil. You want that to be in your collection because it smells even more beautiful.
Kind of like wine?
Exactly like wine. Exactly. Very similar. It's Melissa's dream that we would all know the region, the varietal, and the vintage of the lavender, and that we would be able to decipher that through all the different companies that are growing organically and all the different partners. So that's her dream, that we would have several different varietals and you would know all the details about it.
That sounds great. I want to thank you again for being on the show today, and I'll provide the links in the show notes. Next episode, I will be interviewing nutritional therapy practitioner Andrea Grunberger-Moore about how she uses physical therapy and pain management techniques to treat a variety of chronic conditions. So thanks, everyone, and have a great week.